Okay.
An intention is a guiding principle for who you want to be and how you want to act, live, and show up in this world. Whether at work, in relationships, during your creative or spiritual pursuits, or in any other area of your life, an intention serves as an internal compass. It offers a sense of clarity and helps guide your actions as you move throughout the days of the year. In yogic philosophy, and then this is something that you talked about as well, Zorn, an intention is referred to as sankalpa. This term comes from the Sanskrit root san, meaning connection with the highest truth, and kalpa, meaning vow. An intention, or sankalpa, then is a solemn vow and commitment we make with ourselves to support our highest truth.
Nice.
But an intention shouldn't be confused with a goal. A goal is the desired outcome you wish to attain further into the future. An intention is a chosen theme that allows you to create alignment in your life. Think of it as a greater aim, a holistic purpose, or an attitude you're choosing to commit to. It forms the fabric through which you will sow your actions and reap the rewards. An intention gives you a purpose to focus on, and isn't purpose what we need as humans to find meaning in what we do.
Yep.
And one last thing that he said about this was, if goals are about the destination, intentions are about direction.
Love it.
Same.
Okay. We're going to say the process.
Well, I mean, it's a
Same
little
thing.
Pretty
bit
much
there.
the same thing.
So, having read that, just first thoughts that come to mind as, I read that to you guys.
I like that. That's a little bit more, really is about the direction and the journey and not quite putting this, sort of concrete goal, like I'm just going to work towards this. It's more about like what you're doing, like overall, and how it's guiding your life and how you're guiding your day-to-day living, your mindset towards things, how maybe you treat other people in your lives, or the attitude that you use when you're engaging in tasks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's definitely, and they use the word holistic, it's definitely a lot more of like a whole human kind of way of thinking.
Like in everything that you do.
Rather than like, there's nothing wrong with laser focus, but as opposed to like laser focus, I'm just going here and I'm not really focusing or noticing anything else around me,
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it's guiding more how you should kind of behave in your everyday life, interact with people, interact with whatever your general goals are as well. And almost reading that kind of tells you to just be kind of like a better person almost, or think about how you're doing things,
Right.
what your
I mean,
intention.
don't we all want to be better people, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. When I hear that, it's kind of, to me, hearing like, be the change you want to see. And
Sure.
it is not to say that right here and right now in this moment, you are that person that you are looking to strive to be in the future, but use that as your like North Star, right? It's kind of like every decision and every action that you're taking. If you had a moment to just pause and reflect and think how that future person would respond in that moment, it is going to set you up to align with what you're working towards. And I think that, people say that goal is the destination. And I feel like a lot of people put off their happiness to get there. When I achieve X, I will feel happy.
And then unlikely you do feel happy.
Well,
But
I think you could if you hit it, but you also have so much opportunity to learn in the process of it. And if you could focus on the whole journey of getting to that point, yeah, cool. It would be cool if you achieve it, but you would have seen the whole thing in a completely different light. And I think that if you do achieve that thing, what's next? Like, you're going to have to be like constantly, if this happens, if this happens, if this happens, instead of actually all of this is great.
Yeah. Well, one thing that is really interesting about what you said is the whole idea of once you reach your goal, like whether or not you achieve it, but specifically if you achieve your goal, because you're so focused on it,
like,
because you just took things away from that in order to get there. There's like a feeling of emptiness now that journey is over, and also like the sadness of like, what did I do in order to get to this, right? And even just the idea that like looking back and those steps that you had to take and the growth that you had, if you don't acknowledge that, then yeah, there is going to be a feeling of emptiness. We had a previous guest, Brandon Wakeling, and he is an Australian weightlifter, and he made it to the Olympics, which is the pinnacle of most sports, is to make it to the Olympics every 4 years. It's a limited opportunity.
Yeah.
So I would assume that, looking from the outside in, that's like the biggest thing. And I would take in every single moment. And then when he was reflecting with Ed about it, what was really interesting of him to say, and I appreciate, is that for him, he barely remembers the Olympics itself. What he remembers is every friggin' rep. Every time he had to figure out his recovery, every time he got injured, every time he was sidelined, in order to make himself that level to be able to make it to the Olympics. So for him, it was just like the cherry on top of everything else. But everything that really mattered to him was that process, was that journey, and the intentions that he set to be able to achieve that goal.
That is incredible. I feel like it takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to do that. It really does. I'm going to listen to that podcast.
It's a good one.
What episode is it? Do you know?
Yeah, it's like 194 or something.
There you go.
Yeah, it's super. I mean, I produced this. But yeah.
194. Have a listen.
So like when I listen to that quote, well, like what is in my mind is intentions is similar to developing like good habits, like discipline, like consistency, like managing stress, all those kind of good habits that guide you to what you think is success is. So it's just like the final part, it's just like the destination and the direction. Developing like those kind of habits, those kind of consistency allowed you to be more focused, or like you're just like not turning like side to side or anything like that. You're going to the right path to your goal.
You know what that's really interesting about when I was reading that? I mean, you're sitting right next to me. So in the podcast, if you're listening to this, and you're sitting right next to me, and I have my computer screen up because I didn't remember that. I had to read it off the computer. And as I was speaking it, I could feel Andrew just like looking straight at the screen. And
because you're speaking too fast.
But then, for me, it seemed like, because it was so funny when we talked about this, that you're like, I don't really think about goals. I think you're naturally an intention kind of person. I think that's why this speaks to you.
Resonates a little more. Yeah.
It resonates me a little bit more because I don't really like to set goals, but I'm trying to find the right direction. So just move closer to what I want to get in my life. Because while setting goals for life, or even for like a lot of people in the modern society, is that like setting goals because other people ask you to, or you're setting goals because you want to fulfill other people's expectations and stuff like that. Exactly. So I don't like to set goals, is because I want to go by feel a little bit more, and let's see how life get me to.
And you do you rather,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's cool.